Hello and welcome to another video. I had mentioned postboxes in my last video about the historical maps, and since there's no time like the present, here's the video about postboxes. I did a little survey in Kilkenny today for, I think there were 11 postboxes that I found. I mean, I know there are more, but I didn't want to do too much walking. And I found examples for all the types that I wanted to find, and let's just dig right into it. Let's start with the postbox outside the left bank in Kilkenny. This is it here. It's a pillar postbox. You see that's where you put the mail in, and underneath you have an information card telling you all kinds of stuff. We'll go into that in a little bit. And underneath that you have the royal cipher. You might be able to see that it spells VR, which is for Victoria Regina, Queen Victoria. There are other royal ciphers, which I will talk about when I get to those examples. And at the bottom you actually have the foundry as well, which I didn't look into, so we can't add that. I think it's actually also not a tag for postboxes, so we'll just ignore that. The tags you have for postboxes, first of all you put the note where the location of the postbox is. I think most of the postboxes I visited in Kilkenny today are already mapped by their location. And then you add amenity postbox, post_box. And then the next one would be the reference number, which I can't see in this example. It looked today like a lot of those information cards had been replaced recently. Anyway, the reference number is at the top somewhere. And in Kilkenny, they all start with KKY000, and then a number, and then an A. I'm not sure what all of that means. I mean, KKY probably means Kilkenny. And then the number, the highest number I saw was 89. And then they all ended in A. I don't know why. So that's the reference number, which is a thing that you are also asked in Street Complete once the postbox is mapped already. And it's just the postbox. There are two postbox related quests on Street Complete. One is the reference number and one is the collection time, because that's the most important ones. So then collection times, you do that by collection_times equals, and then you put in the time you see here, 1700 hours or 5 p.m. I'm not quite sure how often, if they're emptied every day or Monday to Friday. It doesn't really say on the postbox, so just put in whatever time you see on it. And then you have operator, which is on post, I think, for all of them in Ireland. You can indicate if they're indoor, so if there is a postbox inside a post office, for example, or if there is one, if you have a shop and it also functions as a post office and the postbox is indoors, you use indoor equals yes. If it's outdoor, you don't have to tag that at all. The historical part of the postboxes is, of course, the royal cipher. And as I said, the one outside the left bank has VR for Victoria Regina. There are two more that apply for Ireland. I will put a link in the description. The second one would be ER and then 7 in Roman numerals for Edward VII, who reigned from 1901 to 1910. Not that I know that by heart. I'm reading that off the wiki. And then George V from 1910 to 1936, and it just has GR. I'll show you examples for that. There is one Edward VII one at Switzer's home in Kilkenny, and I think there was another one somewhere. And George, so of course the R stands for Rex in this case, for King. The one in Irishtown, I think, is GR, and the one on Patrick Street, almost the corner of Ormond Road, is also was also put there at the time of George V. And then all the rest of them would be put there by An Post, and they don't have a royal cipher, of course. I think that's something worth exploring with children, maybe, if you take them for a walk. If it's like the one for Victoria, they come, well, really like a cipher. You have to really look to see the V and the R. The George V ones are very plain, and some of the Edward ones are apparently a bit more ornate. Not the ones I found, but there are examples. I don't know if they are only in the UK or if some of the nicer examples exist in Ireland. And I will go now and map the first one, and you can watch me do that. So I'm on the OpenStreetMap website. I've already logged in with my username and password. I've zoomed in on Kilkenny outside the left bank, and you see the post box is already mapped. Wonder who did that. Well, it wasn't me, to be fair. But I have done a bit of Street Complete on it, so I don't have to add all the information on that one. So it is here. And I select it by just clicking on the node, and you see the operators are already put in on post. Collection times are already put in. The reference code is not, which I can't see on the picture. Well, that's a pity. But I will add the royal cipher, which is EVIIR. And you see it already gives you a selection. There's also wikidata you can add for the royal ciphers, which are on the OpenStreetMap wiki. So if you look at that table for EVIIR, the wikidata item is this number here, which I'm just gonna copy and paste. And the tag is royal underscore cipher colon wikidata. And I'll just put that in. And the other ones are, okay, so we have amenity postbox, it's not indoor. We have operator collection times, postbox type, post underscore box colon type. And it should give me a choice, pillar, and that's what it is. So the ones I found in Kilkenny are pillar, lamp, and wall. Pillar are those ones that we've just seen in the picture. Walls are the ones that are in a wall, and lamp are the ones that are on a pole, basically. I saw one example which is on John's Green. And no, that's all, really. I can put in the reference number. I'll add that later on. So I'm just gonna save that now. Edit post box details, and source is survey. And I'll click upload. The next one is the one at Switzer's home, and it's facing the castle park, so it's in the wall there. There we go. When you do survey them, make sure you take note of the reference numbers. Don't rely on the pictures in case you get into the same situation like me and you can't read it on the pictures. I did use OSM and for this one. I'm not very happy with the app. I found it very difficult to navigate. But it's the first time I've actually used it for tracking, so maybe it's all my fault. So there it is. The good thing about OSM and is that it shows way more detail than any other app I've used. For example, it shows all the benchmarks, so there's one here if you want to check that one out. If you live in Kilkenny, it's very difficult to find. So again, the node is in the wall or on the wall, on the line that defines the wall. Because it is part of the wall. If it's freestanding, leave the point as freestanding. Again, operators already put in, collection time is already put in, reference code is already put in. There's not much left to do. I will add the royal cipher, which is Edward, this one. And that looks weird now because it looks like it's just one word, but of course it's ER, the initials, well, yeah, and then the Roman numerals. And the wikidata for Edward is this number, or not for Edward, for his royal cipher. It's very important to make that difference. Royal cipher wikidata, and I just paste that. And what else? Oh, the type. Post box type wall. That should be everything. Amenity postbox, reference number, indoor, no. Yeah, drive-through is another one that you can add. Operator, collection times, postbox, royal cipher. Yeah, that's all. Sorry, I haven't done this a lot in all that much depth. Yeah, and that's, you know, that's 10 tags for just one postbox. Added postbox details, sources, survey. That was quick. I found one that is not as excessively mapped. This one, it's in, I guess it would be Walking Street. It's at the corner of Parnell Street, Walking Street, Friary Street and Lower New Street. So I'm not entirely sure which street it belongs to. Used to be all Walking Street. So it's next to the cinema, which they would probably refer to as the old cinema by now. So I click on it and you see it only has amenity postbox and the operator filled in. So I will add, I'll show you the picture. You see it's one that was put up at the time of George V. So if it lets me, I will type royal. By now you know how to do it. Royal cipher GR. I don't know why it just doesn't just automatically add the wikidata for that. Royal cipher wikidata, and it is George this number. Be fewer mistakes if it was just added automatically. Then we get the post underscore box colon type, and again it's wall. Reference number is, you see that's also up here. You don't have to type that. It's just in the mood. KKY 0009A. What else? Collection times. That's also up here. 1700. Just check. So this one only has 7 tags, which is plenty, and I will save that. And the next one I want to show you is a disused one, and it's down on Blackmill Street at that pub. It's called Campions, someone Campion's pub. Let me see. David Campion. And it must have been there a long time, but I'll pull up the picture now. And you see that's its use now. So it's still red, so it was never used since the Republic was declared, or since An Post took over. I guess, unless, you know, it was decommissioned and they painted it red again to make it look older. Who knows? And the pub is there. So I'm only mapping it for its historic value, and maybe to draw attention to the fact that maybe someone should put a little cover onto it and to prevent the current use. So I'm adding a node to the building, if it lets me. It should work just with a double click. I'll just pull that middle bit over. Okay, so. And I mark just the one point. Be careful not to mark the whole building. And go down to actually what I went to show you, which I only discovered recently. Every time I watch someone else map, I learn something new. And it's, yeah, because we're all self-taught. So into the search bar, which appears once you put a note somewhere, you just type in what you want to add. Post box. There we go. For all that stuff that doesn't appear automatically on the left-hand side. So we will leave operator empty, collection times as well. I will add the royal cipher, which was EVIIR. And the wikidata number. Royal underscore cipher colon. And there we go. And then very important, disused amenity. You can just use disused, but since it is an amenity, disused amenity, and then let's see if it allows me to do postbox. It does, yeah. So that's very precise. That's great. Oh, and then the type, post underscore box colon type. It's also a wall postbox. And actually do not use amenity equals postbox and only use the disused amenity equals postbox, because otherwise it will be displayed on the map and we don't want that. I'm sorry about that mistake. So again, save that. The last one I want to show you, well, the last but one, is the one at John's Green. We just see it, yeah, it is connected to the wall, which in real life it isn't, so I'm just gonna, again, if it lets me, disconnect this from the wall. So you right click on the node and then you get a little menu here, and it's this one, extract, and then you have to let go and highlight it again, and you can drag it anywhere. And to make sure it doesn't snap onto the wall again, hold your Alt key. I put it there. Technically also the car park isn't going all the way up to the wall of the Centra, I think. But I'll worry about that later on. So we have the operator there. Collection times are 4:30. Sorry, I can't pull this up all the windows. So I have to switch in between the windows. It's not drive-through, no. Reference code, I remember that one, KKY 00089A. I remember it because the number was so high. I don't know if that means there are 89 post boxes in Kilkenny, at least, county. I don't know what it means. And I haven't found number 1. Maybe that'll be an interesting hunt. I wonder if it's still around or if it was outside the post office and they decided not to have it outside the post office anymore. There's no royal cipher on it because it's too new. There's no wikidata for the cipher. The postbox type wall is wrong. It's lamp because it's on a pole. Yeah, that's all because, yeah, that's all I can add to that. And save. You can add the color, but I mean they're all going to be green because they're all unpassed. There are countries with more than one postal service. Like in Germany we have Deutsche Post, which their color is yellow. And then we have, in some parts of East Germany, we have Pinpost, which is green. And there might be other private companies in other provinces, I don't know. But in Leipzig we had Pinpost, which was a bit cheaper than Deutsche Post. Okay, so those were the classic post boxes. There is one other thing I want to show you. The ones I'm talking about, I pull up the picture here. I saw two on my survey today, one near Switzer's Home and this one in James's Street. And they are used by the postmen. I'm not trying to be gender specific here. When they're delivering post on the bike and they can't fit all the mail for their whole district or for their whole round into their bags and on the bikes. I don't know, it's probably not a problem that much anymore now that people don't write letters anymore. But the postal service leaves boxes with letters in those, and the postmen on their bike just drive by once they're finished with their bag and top up again, so they don't have to go all the way back to the depot to get the next round of letters. The reason why I know that is because I've watched them do that in Germany. It's not creepy, it just happened to pass, and you know, I noticed things. And also because one time when I lived in Berlin, a postman left the whole box with letters on top of that street cabinet. So I had to call the post office and say, someone left this here, what do I do? Do I deliver it to the next post office? Do I wait here until the postman comes back? I can't remember what happened, but that's how it went. And they were very important when the telecom, when they sent their bills every month. And I actually worked in the post office in the sorting office for a couple of months, and that was very stressful. Those couple of days when all those bills arrived and we had to sort them. There were machines for that, but because there were so many, the machines got stuck. Anyway, so they're called street cabinets, and they are green because the operator is on post. It's not the same in Germany. The Deutsche Post, as I said, is yellow, but the street cabinets for that are not yellow in Germany. They're just light grey. The boxes are yellow, or the letters are kept in. So there is a post box there, as you saw on the map. I will map that once I'm finished with explaining. So there is a little green area here between this row of houses and the Mother of Fair Love School. And the street cabinet is roughly here. So you set a node, and I had done it before and I had forgotten to record. And so I still have this here. So you can just type in street cabinet in the search, and then it turns up and you click on it and it's defined as a street cabinet. I didn't see a reference code. The operator is post. The type is postal service. So you see there's a lot of different types of street cabinets. In the picture you see there's a black one. That's for electricity, I guess, street lighting or something. You often get them near street lights, street lamps. I see them all the time now because I was mapping them in Selbridge. So type postal service utilities, I don't know what that means. Color, if you feel like it, you can put in green. And that's really all you can do. You can also type all these things by hand, but it's easier to just follow the questions, I think. And I will not save that now because I want to finish mapping this post box. I will then continue adding all the details to the post boxes I have surveyed today. There were about maybe 10, I want to say. And then I will record doing an overpass turbo query for the post boxes. Now I'm on the overpass turbo website. I've done another tutorial about overpass turbo before, which I will link on the corner there. As you can see, I have done a search for a combination of amenity postbox and royal cipher, and it yielded no results. So nobody in the whole of Ireland has bothered to do that before. So I'm the pioneer here. And that's the old search. Now I have added the ones that I've surveyed today. There's a bit of a storm outside. I hope you can hear that. First of all, I'm going to show you, because I don't want to mess with this query. I did another one for just postbox. I used this for a bit of quality control as well. So I used the wizard. I just typed in amenity equals postbox underscore post underscore box in Kilkenny to show me how many post boxes are actually mapped in Kilkenny. And I'll run this now. And you see there are, and you only need nodes, you don't need to look for ways or relations. And you see there are 16 now. So overpass turbo is really useful for quality control. Like I had forgotten to put the postbox type in with the one in James's Street, and I wasn't quite sure if I had done so. I could have just gone in and checked, but in case I had overlooked more, I searched for amenity postbox and then excluded postbox type, and that brought me the one in James's Street. So if you would want to write an app to show postboxes, it's quite useful if you are new into an area and you wanted to put a filter on, say, for interest's sake, it's not really useful for anyone, to show you all the ones that were put up during the time of Queen Victoria. Basically, you would use overpass turbo, but you would program a nice user interface and so on and so forth, of course, because this is not very pleasing to the eye. I mean, it kind of is satisfying, but it's not as nice as having a phone app with filters and drop-down boxes and whatever have you. But this is basically what happens in the background is this query is put in. And this is looking for Kilkenny. You could also say search within a certain area. It's called a bounding box. I won't show that now because I'm digressing already. So I'm going back to the other query for the royal cipher. And I can actually zoom in on Kilkenny because I doubt that within the last hour anyone has done it in Ireland. I can, if I remember, I'll put the link to this search in the video description so you can search and see if anyone else has, after watching the video, actually gone and done that. So there are 9. So I added 9 today. And this is just for Royal Cipher. I've actually added more. The one in John Street doesn't have, and the one on John's Green doesn't. So actually I've added 11. What I could do then, so this is just looking for, you see here, amenity postbox, and then it's combined with this. And I could actually search for just the ones that were put in during Queen Victoria's time. So I just changed the royal cipher to royal cipher equals, and then in quotes, EVIIR, because that's the royal cipher that is used. And if I run the search now, it shows 3. So there were 3 put in Queen Victoria's time. The one in, I don't want to zoom in. Oh yeah, the one that is disused now, the one in Blackmill Street, the one outside the left bank, and the one in the village opposite Coots Lane. If I wanted to look for the ones put in during George V time, I just changed VR to GR. And that's 4. And if you do the math, you don't really have to do the search, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So the cipher was for Edward VII EVIIR. By the way, great opportunity to teach your children Roman numerals. So there were 2. Yeah, and that's really all I wanted to show you. It is quite an interesting topic, actually, come to think of it. And if you ever go to the UK for your holidays, you can take that mission with you. And yeah, I will go back to this now and save my query to put it in the video description. Yeah, please comment if you have any comments. Please subscribe if you're, the kind of person who subscribes. I won't hold it against you if you don't, because I don't subscribe to every channel that I watch a lot. That's perfectly fine. And there is also the Facebook page, which I will link in the description as well, if I don't forget. And enjoy your next walk, and let me know if you found anything interesting. Bye. Yeah, I'm actually not as special as I thought. I ran the query for royal ciphers again for Ireland, and lo and behold, there are some mapped. There's one in Mullingar, and some actually in Waterford, and in Wexford, and in Tipperary. So I take that back. I don't know what happened with my search before. It didn't yield any results. Maybe that was just overpass being a bit, having a mood or something. I don't know. So I'm very sorry I said that before. There have been people mapping those. There are 22 now. I will still put the link in the description so you get a chance to see if there are any more. Goodbye. Remember how I said earlier that I couldn't find the one with the reference number 1? I did actually. It's the one on John Street opposite John's Priory. And I was wondering, why would that one have the number 1? Surely one explanation would be that there was a post office at some point. So I asked around. I asked 2 people who have lived in Kilkenny longer than me, and one of my friends came back, a local expert, and he says yes, indeed, he remembers it, and it was where the boutique is now, so I presume where McGrath is now. McGrath. The post office was there, and then it moved up to John's Green, the one with number 89. And it makes sense because this post box here doesn't have a royal cipher on it, so it's not there. The post office wasn't there like very, very long. There has been a post office in John Street since 1824. I found an article in the Old Kilkenny Review 1966, which I will link below, about the postmasters in Kilkenny. It's almost 1 page, so it's a very short article. And it lists the postmasters since 1824. One of them is Michael Banham, the writer, brother of John Banham, and it lists other locations as well. It doesn't give a proper address, it just says High Street and Patrick Street, but locals might find out where it was, and sometimes the post box might be an indication where it was. And yes, I'm not entirely sure I'll manage to upload that OKR article in time before I upload the video, because I have to go into Kilkenny to do that, and if it's stormy like it is at the moment, I won't do that, but you'll find it soon. And thank you, and see you soon. And please comment if you found different types of post boxes, or if you wouldn't find any other ciphers.